In 2016, one album cover sent shockwaves through hip-hop. When Young Thug appeared on the cover of Jeffery wearing a flowing purple dress, the rap world erupted. Some mocked him, others praised his boldness. But was it just a publicity stunt or the start of a cultural revolution, challenging decades of hypermasculinity in rap? That dress wasn't just fabric. It marked the beginning of a seismic shift in the modern hip-hop aesthetic. Over the years, Young Thug has gone from being accused of queerness to facing charges as the alleged leader of a violent street gang. Yet his statement, "In my world, you can't be a gangster with a dress or a gangster with baggy pants. I feel like there's no such thing as gender," captures the essence of his entire philosophy, self-expression without boundaries. At 12 years old, Jeffery Williams, who would later become Young Thug, already demonstrated a kind of quiet but radical defiance that would come to define his entire artistic career. One of the earliest and most striking examples occurred when he wore his sister's glittery shoes to school. While this might seem like a small, funny act, in the context of Thug's environment, a tough, deeply patriarchal community, it was seen as both bizarre and threatening. When his father found out, he beat him for embarrassing the family. Instead of falling into line, this moment planted a seed of defiant self-expression in Thug. As he got older, he would continue to toy with and reject traditional gender expectations. He frequently wore tight jeans, skirts, and women's blouses. He embraced colorful, flamboyant fashion, painting his nails, and wearing eccentric accessories.
And he said you was the first nigga that wore skinny jeans. I was in jail. I came home, I wore some fucking skinny jeans.
Because of me.
So, no,
even knowing.
I don't know. Is you the first that wore skinny jeans?
100%. I can show you pictures in 2009,
What made
2008.
What's striking is that this behavior wasn't performative for the public eye. It was there even before the spotlight. This early moment foreshadowed how Young Thug would build his entire career around refusing to be boxed in, not just musically, but visually and socially as well. He blurred the lines between masculinity and femininity in a genre that often equates softness with weakness, and he didn't apologize for it. Hip-hop always had strict rules about how men were supposed to look and act. Young Thug broke every single one of them. In mid-2010s, many rappers still were rocking baggy pants, chains, and oversized jerseys, which served as a way to protect toughness and street credibility. When Thug showed up in mesh tops, Ugg boots, and dresses, it disrupted that system. His Instagram post reinforced this. He called male friends babes and posed in outfits that defied expectations. In interviews, he explained that he didn't wear women's clothing to make a political statement or to rebel against norms. He wore it because he liked how it looked, and in his opinion, women's clothes fit him better. Young Thug's vocal style was also all about self-expression. He was creating new flow patterns that other rappers still copy to this day, experimenting with voice pitch and switches between rapping and singing. Jeffery's unconventional vocal delivery, full of yelps, warbles, and mumbling, made it instantly memorable, but also led to ridicule from many hip-hop fans. Lil Wayne, who was Young Thug's biggest inspiration in his early career, had also experimented with his style. Wayne wore skinny jeans and painted his nails, but he still maintained a tough persona.
Who inspired you? Because you ain't really come in the game with a style that nobody had.
The biggest, a lot of people did, bro. I fought with a lot of people, but the biggest inspiration was that nigga Wayne.
Atlanta rap had its own tradition of challenging gender norms before Thug. Andre 3000 had experimented with gender-bending fashion years earlier, but the context was different. Andre operated in alternative hip-hop spaces, where experimentation was more accepted. Thug, on the other hand, was a trap artist, a genre deeply tied to street culture. Rappers were expected to embody a certain image, and Thug's choices directly challenged that. By ignoring all unspoken rules about rappers' image, he opened the door for others. But first, he had to survive the backlash, and that was only the beginning. When Young Thug appeared in that purple dress on the cover of Jeffery, hip-hop immediately split into two sides. Some artists praised him for pushing boundaries, while others attacked him for what they saw as a betrayal of the culture. Kanye West called him a visionary and compared his fashion to rock legends like Prince. A$AP Rocky said Thug was ahead of his time. Ian Connor posted, "Young Thug once again broke boundaries today, and I'm happier than ever to call him an idol of mine." But even with these voices on his side, the majority of rap world reaction was dominated by hate. The backlash wasn't just coming from artists. Fans also lashed out, flooding social media with threats and insults. Some comments under Thug's posts threatened violence, while others said they stopped supporting him entirely. One person wrote, "If you like or listen to his music, you are a homosexual." Another said they'd cut ties with friends who defended him. The media played a big role in keeping the debate alive. Publications like Dazed and Vogue covered Thug's style as a turning point in hip-hop's history. His Dazed cover shoot, where he wore a floral Gucci lace top, became a lightning rod for controversy. Some outlets framed it as progress, while others used it to fuel backlash. Young Thug had faced multiple public speculations and rumors regarding his sexuality during his career. Despite rumors, he has constantly stated that he is not homosexual. In a 2015 interview with The Guardian, Young Thug mentioned that he doesn't identify strictly as or straight. However, in a 2019 interview with Big Boy's Neighborhood, he clarified his stance by stating,
If people think that I'm gay, they already misjudged. I'm the straightest man in the world.
Thug's fashion choices and persona challenged the identity of masculinity in hip-hop, revealing how fragile that image really was. If a rapper could wear a dress and still be respected, what did that say about the rules everyone else was following? The threats and insults weren't just about him. They were about protecting an old way of thinking. But the damage was already done. By 2019, the fashion trends Young Thug pioneered had become standard in rap. Pearl necklaces, mesh tops, and skirts that once got him death threats were everywhere. But while newer artists wore these styles without backlash, Thug had already taken the heat for normalizing them. The same outfits that made him a target in 2016 were now copied by rappers who faced little criticism. Lil Uzi Vert became one of the most visible examples of Thug's influence. Uzi's approach to fashion mirrored Thug's aesthetic, wearing corsets, neon-colored hair, and skirts that blurred gender lines. Playboi Carti took inspiration too, showing up in women's blouses and leather kilts. When Lil Nas X wore dresses on red carpets, he credited Thug for paving the way. The difference was timing. When these artists did it, the culture was more accepting. Fans called Uzi and Nas X bold and fashion-forward, terms rarely used for Thug, when he first experimented with the same looks. What started as Thug's personal taste became a movement. Social media amplified it. Rappers who might have avoided skirts in 2016 now posted photos in them, knowing the audience had shifted. In 2019, Thug's original purple dress from the Jeffery cover was displayed in the Boston Museum of Fine Arts. An item once perceived as a threat to the culture's values was now treated as art. Exhibits highlighted its significance in hip-hop history, framing Thug as a pioneer of gender-bending fashion. The dress wasn't a gimmick, it was a cultural artifact, preserved because it represented a moment when rap reevaluated its rules. Yet, for all this acceptance, Thug's own career took a darker turn. By the time Uzi and Carti were praised for their styles, Thug was dealing with lawsuits and legal scrutiny. The YSL RICO case created a paradox around Young Thug. The same man who wore dresses and challenged hip-hop's rigid masculinity now faced charges of leading a street gang. In May 2022, Young Thug and 27 others were indicted under Georgia's RICO Act, with prosecutors alleging that YSL, Young Stoner Life, was not just a record label, but a violent street gang responsible for numerous crimes. The charges included gang activity, murder, and drug trafficking, putting Thug at risk for up to 125 years in prison. He was denied bond multiple times, and due to his fame, the jury's selection took over a year, making Georgia's most complex legal battle in history. Since his release, Young Thug has resumed his music career, working on a new album titled UI Scooty, which reflects on his legal ordeal and personal transformation. Now, he's re-entering the music landscape he helped shape during years of pushing boundaries of both aesthetic and sound of modern hip-hop. One thing is obvious, Young Thug's legacy goes beyond music. It's about paying the price for breaking barriers first. When he wore that dress in 2016, it cost him death threats and industry backlash. Now, rappers wear skirts and nail polish without backlash. That's the irony of hip-hop. It often shuns innovators until they're proven right. The next time you see a rapper in women's clothes, ask why it's normal today, but controversial when Thug did it. Authenticity in rap only gets celebrated once it's safe. Thug changed the culture, but he also showed how slow it is to reward those who take real risks first. What do you think about the change in rap aesthetics over the last decade? Let us know in the comments. Also, if you like this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss the latest updates. Until next time, peace.